Accusations and economics, what brought these Soviet inspectors to a central Illinois farm, coming up from the vault. Plus, all aboard the SS Budget Rescue as the state of Illinois wagers on riverboat gaming. And Bush League, why a baseball card manufacturer demanded a central Illinois collector hand over a one-of-a-kind find. All that and General George Washington? Get the scoop on where we're sailing for savings. Next, from the vault.
The stories that made news and made history, the places that matter to us, and the people who make Central Illinois home. Join us from the vault.
Hi everyone, I'm Matt Metcalf. Thanks for joining us. Agriculture is the economic mainstay of Central Illinois. And back in the 1980s, the markets were becoming increasingly global and increasingly competitive. So when Japan and the Soviet Union accused the United States of selling them mold-ridden corn and wheat, it was both insulting and economically alarming. To prove America's farmers were honest businessmen, Soviet inspectors were invited to the United States to a farm near Atwood in Piatt County. Here's John Paul from the Vault, 1985.
The Soviet visitors were greeted this morning at Willard Airport, the first stop in a two-day visit to Illinois. Most of their two-week American visit is being spent in Iowa. Dr. Boris Chernyakov and Sergei Sotnikov are agricultural researchers with a science institute in Moscow. 10 grain co-ops invited them to look over central Illinois. And today they stopped at the Fay Hog Farm near Atwood. The somewhat camera-shy Soviets asked mostly about the feed given to the hogs and about ventilation techniques. In addition to viewing livestock operations here in the state, the Soviets will also look at elevators and see how grain is shipped out of Illinois. Of course, grain's the big concern among Illinois farmers, and those hosting this visit want to dispel concerns about poor quality American grain reaching Russia.
And we're going to show them that we control over 60 million bushels of grain, and we are ready and willing to do business with them and have a identity and quality controlled shipments all the way through.
Some studies have shown exported grain to be of lower quality because of the many times it is loaded and unloaded. Grain dealers here want this Soviet duo to understand everything is just fine out on the farm.
I know we've had a lot of reports about bad quality grain and everything. Well, that doesn't start here at the co-op. The co-ops do have good quality grain, and I think that's basically what we want to show them.
The Soviet researchers study their own country's agricultural policies and programs, and they hope to take back a few tips from Illinois. John Paul, Channel 3 News, Atwood.
Flash forward 13 years and the global trade in agricultural commodities had solidified its influence on central Illinois. But another threat was brewing, the potential for nuclear war between India and Pakistan. Lee Eichhorst, then president of the Champaign County Farm Bureau, told Channel 3 he was seeing the impact of U.S. sanctions against those countries in the demand for his crops.
I see today that our corn is down 4 cents and cash beans are down 8 to 9 cents, and I'm sure that the rift between Pakistan and India is part of that.
Eichhorst and other growers disagreed on whether the India-Pakistan situation or economic problems in other Asian markets were having the most impact. Either way, by 1998, it was clear how tied central Illinois farms were to foreign affairs. It's hard to control what's happening thousands of miles away, but you can control what's happening on your own farm. And that's what local growers were doing in the mid-2000s, looking to preserve our incredible soils while also assuring clean drinking water for everyone in the area. WCIA's Ann Dill traveled to a farm near Chatsworth in 2004 to see how something as simple as wood chips could help.
So we are measuring everything that comes through the tile.
Farmers moved the classroom into the field today
to reduce nitrate and phosphorus runoff through some new management systems.
They took time out from harvesting their crops to harvest new ideas.
We passed the water through a trench, an underground trench, with some carbon material, usually wood chips.
Last year, Professor Cook says the wood chips took 75% of the nitrates out of the water.
It benefits everybody for clean water, wildlife habitat, fish habitat. I think it got national significance down in the Gulf of Mexico.
The Kales received a grant to be one of the first to try the new system, designed by a U of I professor. They say farmers must use a lot of nitrates to fertilize their crops in order to get a better yield.
I feel in the future that they will regulate the amount of nitrates that we're going to be able to use on the farms because of that, and so we want to get some data to back it.
Looks like they're doing some kind of feedback control or something.
Now environmental groups and ag agencies hope to replicate this new technology around the state and across the country.
That solution was cost-effective as well. Back then, Ann reported that Professor Cook had spent $1,000 on wood chips, the largest expense for that project. Well, the tax man cometh with some special help from Central Illinois. That's ahead. Plus, the Golden Shovels turn Danville's civic pride in its new Civic Center.
From the Vault, celebrating the rich heritage of Central Illinois. Sponsored by Sunset Funeral Homes. Remember, celebrate, heal.
Welcome to paradise.
From the Vault, November 1991, Central Illinois' first riverboat gaming ship, the Paradise, set sail on the Illinois River at East Peoria. It was the second gambling boat in the state, opening after a boat in Alton. It was originally estimated that 800,000 passengers would ride the Paradise each year. That number peaked in 2001 at about 2 million visitors a year. It's about half that now, in part because of competition from video gambling parlors. Well, the riverboat brought in millions of dollars in new tax revenue for the state. And in order for them to get that tax revenue, you have to file a tax form. Every tax form in the United States, believe it or not, comes through Central Illinois. Channel 3's Brett Lontine took viewers behind the scenes at the IRS Distribution Center in 1995.
On the outside, the Central Area Distribution Center in Bloomington looks like any other warehouse. But on the inside, hundreds of federal employees are making sure you and good old Uncle Sam ring in the new year together. Now, for those of you keeping score at home, this is one of only 3 IRS distribution centers in the entire country. It distributes tax forms to residents and businesses in 20 states. There are 3 warehouses here, all under one roof, covering 5 acres of land. During every tax season, January through April, 700 area residents have to be hired part-time and trained to handle the work overload. That brings total employment to more than 1,000.
This is Barb. How may I help you?
Telephone operators handle 30 to 45,000 calls a day. No tax advice, just requests for tax forms. Whether they come in by phone or through the mail, orders are generally filled within a couple of days, even during this extremely busy time with, for the most part, an inexperienced workforce.
Well, you would think having to train 700 part-time employees every year to literally fill millions of orders, there's bound to be room for mistakes. But the managers at this facility say the accuracy rate, depending on which department, is anywhere from 96 to 99%, believe it or not. Even when the government makes it difficult on them by, say, changing the tax laws.
And of course, we're already starting to plan for next year. We hear so many comments about tax change coming that we've got to be getting ready ahead of time.
Otherwise, the center may end up having to send the forms out late. We certainly wouldn't want that now, would we? Brent Lontine, Channel 3 News, Bloomington.
Today, that distribution center is the only one in the country. Well, back in the 1970s, Peoria and other central Illinois cities were hemorrhaging jobs. Danville city leaders were willing to gamble that a new civic center would help bring more business to downtown. WCIA's Ann Anderson was there in 1978 when ground was broken for what would one day be christened the Palmer Arena.
Danville Civic Center is to be built in the heart of an urban renewal project. In that project, the city hopes to include an indoor mall for 40 stores to ward off possible revenue losses should another mall go up on the west edge of the city. But to get the $3,700,000 for additional land for the mall through the Urban Action Development Grant, HUD told the mayor and other officials yesterday that they need the commitment of a large store.
They say that if we can tie down an anchor store, or a major store, that the chance of receiving funding is very, very excellent.
Is Bergner's close to making any kind of agreement with you?
Bergner's have indicated they are coming to Danville. They say that it may be delayed a year, but if they would make a commitment to that, we'd be satisfied.
Like other communities fighting to save downtown, so shortly after 2 o'clock, the first shovel of earth was turned for what was described as a symbol of commitment to Danville's central business district.
I feel that the Civic Center will bring to life the activity at night that we're now lacking, and also do a lot for changing the facial structures of several of the buildings and businesses and giving us a total new look downtown.
Meanwhile, as the city of Danville tries to convince a major department store to come into the downtown area, plans are underway to let bids by the middle of September so that construction can begin. And at 14 months, officials hope to have a dedication here of a new Danville Civic Center. Ann Anderson, Channel 3 News, Danville.
The center opened to the public in September 1980. Well, are you hungry for history? Mr. Roberts knows what to feed you. That's a little later. Plus,
Kiwi fruit? No, I don't think so. Not today.
staying home and bucking the trend. Right along with this Mr. Mom from the vault. Next. For a long time, it was a tradition that mom stayed home, but that began to change in the 1980s. So some moms went to work and some dads stayed home. Channel 3's Jennifer Roscoe spoke with one Piatt County family about their particular arrangement. It's from the vault, 1996.
Eat the whole wrapper.
In the Wadley house.
You bird fed?
That's what I'm gonna do.
Good idea.
Bye.
Okay, you gonna go feed your turtle?
I'm gonna feed the ball. I'm gonna feed.
Let Matt help you.
Dad is in charge of the house and kids. Teresa, Beth, and Matt. While Mom brings home the paycheck.
Thank you, Matt. I like my job and I enjoy going to work, and makes me appreciate my kids more when I come home to them after a long day at the office.
The non-traditional decision wasn't hard for Steve and Carol, just practical.
She was a year old and I had used up all my leave at work, and it was time to go back to work or, give up my job completely.
We had to face the decision of whether to put Teresa in daycare or find a babysitter or whatever.
He had been in his job for 10 years and was kind of at a dead end.
I was getting kind of tired of my other job.
So we just thought, well, why doesn't he stay home and try it for a while?
Now it's been 8 years, and being a short-term house husband has become a full-time career.
Teresa, come here.
And there's no plans to change places.
Heck, I know how easy I've got it, and I know how easy men have had it for generations and generations. They go to work and they come home, it's a piece of cake.
Beth, what do we need?
Today is shopping day.
We'll get there, Beth.
And like any seasoned veteran knows,
Kiwi fruit? No, I don't think so. Not today.
compromise is the name of the game.
I'm going.
Tricks?
Yeah.
Fine. Small box. Small box.
Steve says back in the late 80s, people really didn't understand the whole house husband concept.
8 years ago when I started doing this, fathers didn't stay home with their kids. I mean, they went to work and mom stayed home. And, people, whenever you're talking to somebody, the first question that usually comes up is, what do you do? And I always had to come up with exactly how to phrase what I did, and I was usually like stay-at-home dad or stay home with the kids.
As the years have passed, there have been changes for Steve and other Mr. Moms.
At the Y, they'd have signs that say, mom and kids come in here, and after I've been there for a few years, now they've changed it to parent and kids. And there never used to be changing tables in men's restrooms. Now they're all over the place. They always have those.
And Steve's attitude about his job has changed as well.
I was like, well, I don't really have a job. I'm just staying home with the kids. And then I kind of realized that I do have a job, a big job. Okay, we're ahead of time, so we're going to go to Nick's Park.
Steve says the downfall of being a stay-home dad is financial. There's no second income to help out.
Okay.
Bye.
Go. Run amok.
But the benefits are in the smiles and laughter he won't be missing.
I'd have to hear about this from somebody else, how they played at the park, and this way I can be here and watch them.
Do you ever think of not doing this?
No, not really. This is what I want to be doing right now, and I don't see any reason to not be doing it.
Steve was on the leading edge of a trend in fathers staying home. According to Pew Research, the number of stay-at-home fathers doubled between 1990 and 2010. Well, it's pedal to the metal at a good old-fashioned dirt track. We're headed to the raceway next. Also ahead, we know him as America's 41st president. But long before stepping into the Oval Office, George H.W. Bush stepped into the box for Yale's baseball team. His card controversy after this.
The stories and people you remember from Central Illinois. Once again, From the Vault with Matt Metcalf.
Nothing like a night at the dirt track in Farmer City. From the Vault, 1999, opening night with late model, modified, sportsman, and street stock racing. Lots of local fans and local racers helping to make the raceway experience.
All the fans are, if they're not local, it seems like they are. Everything's friendly. Bob puts on a real good program because, I don't know, it just kind of makes you feel like home.
Some big names have come through the track, like Winston Cup driver Ken Schrader. The nationally known World of Outlaws series also makes a pit stop at Farmer City. Lots of sports fans collect memorabilia from their favorite players, including cards. Having a major player as a pre-rookie in your cards, that's a big deal. Even bigger when that rookie is President of the United States. Here's John Paul from the Vault.
It's a development that could stun the baseball card collectors of America. The owners of this Champaign baseball card shop, called Who's on First, have a George Bush baseball card when he played for Yale in the 40s. Not so surprising until you learn the Topps Card Company supposedly made only 100 and presented every one of them to Mr. Bush this past Monday. The card shop owners say they found it inside a regular package of Topps cards in early December. Topps says the card is stolen merchandise. They want the card back now.
And I told them that they could take that up with my attorney, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm a collector and I've got a card that I like and I'm going to keep it.
Hull has no idea what the card is worth, since to his knowledge,
I believe
no
it was
others
Tuesday
exist.
Or Wednesday
It
that
could
the story
be
broke.
priceless.
As a collector, it's ideal. You got something nobody else has. And it's whether we're not really looking to sell it, we just want to find out how genuinely rare it is.
Mr. Bush played in the College World Series in 1948 with Yale. His card lists all of his college statistics. Only one spot makes reference to him being president, his address, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. John Paul, the Channel 3 News at 10.
Now, professional card traders tell me that there were two types of Bush cards put out, and both continue to be extremely rare. Mr. Roberts sails us into savings on your next scoop. That's coming up in our classic commercial. It's one of the most enduring stories of American history, the story of George Washington chopping down the cherry tree and then confessing because he couldn't tell a lie. Now, researchers at Mount Vernon say that that story is actually a myth. However, it continues to be a powerful moral story and a sales tool. Here's this classic commercial featuring our own Mr. Roberts from the Vault, 1963.
Where are we going?
Trenton.
What for?
Why, for some Meadow Gold Honest George cherry ice cream, of course. I remember when I was a little boy, I had chopped down a cherry tree because I couldn't wait for some more of that delicious Meadow Gold Honest George cherry ice cream. tangy with dark cherry chunks, generously sprinkled in rich, smooth vanilla ice cream. It's the greatest, and that's the truth. Perfect at a party for dessert, in a cone, too. By George, that's honest-to-goodness cherry flavor.
But, General, how are we going to beat the Redcoats with all their superior numbers?
Why, we'll serve them Honest George cherry ice cream. Who wants to fight when you can enjoy delicious Honest George cherry ice cream by Meadow Gold?
Suddenly I'm hungry. Thanks for watching us from the vault. I'm Matt Metcalf. We'll see you next time.